I was folding laundry in my bedroom when my phone rang. The caller ID showed my daughter's school. My heart dropped the way every parent's does when they see that number during school hours. Mrs. Patterson, what's wrong? I managed to keep my voice steady. Mrs. Chen, this is Principal Howard. I need you to come pick up Sophie and Emma immediately. Are they hurt? My hands were already grabbing my keys. They're physically fine, but there's been an incident. Sophie locked herself in the bathroom and won't come out. She keeps saying she needs to tell you something about her daddy, and it can't wait. That was a Wednesday in March, 17 years ago. I was 46 years old, married 9 years to a man I thought I knew inside and out. I was about to learn I didn't know him at all. Maybe I never had. The drive to Lincoln Elementary took 8 minutes. I spent every second of it trying to rationalize. Maybe Tom had embarrassed them at drop-off. Maybe they'd fought that morning and Sophie was being dramatic. 7-year-old girls could be dramatic. But Sophie wasn't the dramatic twin. That was Emma. Sophie was my observer, my quiet one, the child who noticed everything. Principal Howard met me at the entrance, her face carefully neutral. Your daughter is very insistent that she speak to you privately. We've called your husband as well. He should be here shortly. Don't let him near them, I said, surprising myself. The words came out before I could think. I don't know why I said it. I just felt it. Something was wrong, and my body knew before my brain caught up. The principal's expression shifted. Mrs. Chen, has something happened at home? Not that I know of, I whispered. But if Sophie locked herself in a bathroom to wait for me, I need to hear what she has to say. Alone. They let me into the girls' bathroom. Sophie was sitting on the tile floor, her back against the stall door, her identical twin sister Emma sitting right beside her, holding her hand. When they saw me, both girls burst into tears. The kind of tears that come from holding something terrifying inside for too long. I sank down onto the floor with them, pulling both girls into my arms. They smelled like the strawberry shampoo we used that morning, like the cinnamon toast they'd eaten for breakfast. Normal. Everything was supposed to be normal. What's going on, babies? Talk to Mommy. Sophie looked at Emma. Emma nodded. They had that twin thing, that silent communication that had always amazed me. Then Sophie pulled a folded piece of notebook paper from her pocket. Her hands were shaking. We made a list, she said, of all the things Daddy doesn't know anymore. The paper was covered in their careful second-grade handwriting. I unfolded it, and my world started to tilt. Number 1. He called Emma Sophie 3 times yesterday, even though Emma was wearing her purple glasses and Sophie doesn't wear glasses. Number 2. He asked us what our favorite breakfast was. He makes us cinnamon toast every Saturday. He knows. Number 3. He doesn't say night-night, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite anymore. He just says, good night, girls. Number 4. He forgot Emma is scared of the basement. Real Daddy always remembers. Number 5. He put Sophie's plate in Emma's spot at dinner. He never mixes us up, never. The list went on. 17 items total. 17 small things that individually could be explained away. Together, they painted a picture that made my blood run cold. My daughters, 7 years old, had been studying the man in our house like scientists documenting an invasive species. I read the list 3 times. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were completely steady, like my body had moved past panic into something colder, more focused. When did this start? I asked quietly. When did you start noticing these things? Last Tuesday, Emma said. She was the talker, the one who could put feelings into words. We came home from school and Daddy was already there. He said he came home early to surprise us. But Mom, he gave us the wrong snacks. He gave Sophie goldfish crackers. Sophie's allergic to goldfish crackers. Real Daddy knows that. He's known since she was 3. I felt like I was falling. Last Tuesday was 8 days ago. For 8 days, my daughters had been living with a man who couldn't tell them apart, who didn't know their routines, who had forgotten the fundamental facts of their lives. For 8 days, I had been sleeping next to him. Tom, my husband, traveled for work. He was a pharmaceutical sales rep, gone 3, sometimes 4 days a week. He'd left on a Monday morning for a conference in Phoenix. He'd come home Tuesday afternoon. Except he hadn't come home. Someone who looked exactly like him had come home. Where's our real daddy? Sophie whispered. Where did he go? I didn't have an answer, but I knew someone who might. Tom had an identical twin brother, Daniel. They'd been estranged for 6 years, ever since their mother's funeral where they'd gotten into a screaming match about the will. I hadn't seen Daniel since. Tom rarely mentioned him. When he did, his jaw got tight, and his words got clipped. My brother made his choices, he'd say. And we made ours. Identical twins. I stared at my daughters, at their matching faces, their identical brown eyes. They could tell each other apart. They always had. Sophie had a tiny freckle near her left ear. Emma had a slightly crooked bottom tooth from when she'd fallen off the swing set. Small differences. Differences a parent would know. Differences a stranger wouldn't see. Did you tell your daddy about your list? I asked carefully. Both girls shook their heads violently. Sophie was scared to, Emma said. She thought he might get mad. And he's been weird when he gets mad. His face goes really still, like a mask. Real daddy's face moves when he's mad. We can see it in his eyes. This daddy's eyes are flat. 7 years old, and they'd articulated what I'd been feeling all week without realizing it. The man in my house looked like Tom, sounded like Tom, but something was off. I'd chalked it up to stress. He'd said the Phoenix conference was brutal, that he was exhausted. I'd believed him because I wanted to. Because the alternative was impossible. Except now it wasn't impossible. It was sitting on a bathroom floor in front of me, documented in second-grade handwriting. Stay here, I told the girls. I'm going to make some phone calls. Do not leave this bathroom. Do not go with anyone except me or Principal Howard. If that man shows up and tries to take you, you scream. Do you understand? Both girls nodded, eyes wide. I kissed their foreheads and walked out into the hallway, my heart hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. Principal Howard was waiting. I need to use your office, I said. And I need you to call the police. My daughters are not safe with the man claiming to be their father. I called my sister first. Rachel was a family law attorney in Boston, sharp as a blade and twice as protective. I told her everything in 3 minutes flat. She was silent for a long moment. Jesus, Lily, you think Daniel killed Tom and took his place? I don't know what I think, but my daughters know their father. And they're telling me that's not him. Rachel's voice went hard. Don't go home. Don't go anywhere alone with him. I'm calling a PI I've worked with. His name is Marcus Rivera. He's ex-FBI. He'll be there in 2 hours. In the meantime, you need proof. Proof! I hung up and stared at the principal's desk. What proof could I get? The man had Tom's face, Tom's voice, Tom's fingerprints. If this was Daniel, he'd been planning this. You don't just slip into someone's life without preparation. The police arrived first, 2 officers, a man and a woman, both looking skeptical when I explained. Mrs. Chen, the male officer said gently, identical twins can be very convincing when they set their minds to something. Are you sure they're not playing a prank? My daughters don't prank about safety, I said flatly. And they've documented 17 behavioral inconsistencies. He doesn't know which twin is which. What father of 7-year-old twins can't tell his own daughters apart? The female officer, whose badge said Martinez, looked more interested. That's actually a fair point. We had a case 2 years ago. Identity fraud by a twin. But ma'am, we're going to need more than a list of behavioral changes to investigate. Do you have any concrete evidence that your husband isn't who he says he is? Not yet. But I will. Tom, or whoever he was, showed up 20 minutes later. I watched him through the principal's office window. He looked exactly like my husband. Same height, same build, same way of running his hand through his hair when he was stressed. He was talking to the secretary, his face concerned, playing the worried father perfectly. He turned, and our eyes met through the glass. Something flickered across his face. Not recognition, calculation. I walked out to meet him. The police officers flanked me. Tom, I said. The girls are fine. There was just a mix-up. His shoulders relaxed. Thank God. When the school called, I thought something terrible had happened. What kind of mix-up? Sophie got upset about something at recess. She needed some time to calm down. You know how she gets. I was testing him. Sophie didn't get upset. Emma did. Sophie went silent when she was overwhelmed. Emma exploded. A real father would know that. He nodded sympathetically. Yeah, she's always been my sensitive girl. Can I see them? Wrong answer. Sophie wasn't the sensitive one. I kept my face neutral. They're with the counselor right now. Why don't we go home? We can pick them up in an hour once they've settled down. I saw it then. The flash of irritation, just a microsecond before he smiled. Of course, whatever's best for the girls. He reached for my hand. His grip was wrong, too tight. Tom held my hand loosely, our fingers intertwined. This man grabbed my hand like he was making sure I couldn't pull away. We drove home separately. I called Marcus Rivera from my car, Rachel's PI. He answered on the first ring. Mrs. Chen, your sister filled me in. I need you to do exactly what I say. Get into your house, act normal, and text me a list of distinctive characteristics your husband has. Scars, birthmarks, dental work, anything that can't be easily replicated. And I need his DNA. A toothbrush, a hairbrush, anything. Can you do that? Yes. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Good. I'm pulling up to your street now. I'll be watching. You're not alone. The man who might not be my husband pulled into our driveway 3 minutes after I did. He was whistling. Tom whistled when he was happy, but the tune was wrong. Tom whistled old rock songs. This was pop, something I didn't recognize. You okay? He asked when we were inside. You seem tense. Just worried about the girls. I forced a smile. I'm going to start dinner. He nodded and headed for the living room. I heard the TV click on. Tom always went to his home office first, checked his emails. This man went straight for the couch. Another wrong thing, another crack in the mask. I went upstairs to our bathroom. Tom's toothbrush was in the holder. I grabbed it, sealed it in a plastic bag, and hid it in my purse. Then I stood in front of our bedroom mirror and really looked at the photos on the dresser. Tom had a small scar on his right forearm from a mountain biking accident in college. Tom had a chipped molar on the bottom left from grinding his teeth. Tom had a birthmark on his left shoulder blade, shaped like a comma. I went back downstairs. The man was still on the couch, watching CNN. Hey, I said casually, your shoulder's been bothering you, right? From the golf trip? I can rub it if you want. He glanced up. Appreciative. That would be great, babe. Thanks. He pulled off his shirt. I looked at his left shoulder blade. Smooth. Unmarked. No comma-shaped birthmark. My hands started shaking. I caught myself, pressed my thumbs into his shoulders, and acted like everything was fine. All the while, my mind was screaming. This man wasn't Tom. This man had killed my husband, or hidden him, or God knows what. And he'd been sleeping in my bed for 8 days. I finished the massage. He smiled at me. You're the best, you know that? I smiled back. Years of polite social conditioning kicking in even as terror choked me. I texted Marcus from the kitchen while I chopped vegetables. No birthmark on left shoulder blade. He has Tom's face but not his body marks. Marcus replied immediately. Good. Keep acting normal. I'm running the DNA now. We'll know in 48 hours. In the meantime, you need to get him to reveal himself. Make him prove he's Tom. How? I typed. Ask him something only Tom would know. Something intimate, something he'd have to have been there for, and record it. That night, I pretended everything was fine. We ate dinner, we watched a movie, I laughed at his jokes. He kissed me goodnight, and I let him. His kiss was wrong too forceful. Tom kissed me like he was savoring it. This man kissed me like he was claiming territory. When he fell asleep, I lay there in the dark, my phone hidden under my pillow, recording. Around 2 a.m., he started talking in his sleep. It happens, Daniel, Elena said. Stupid woman didn't even lock the freezer. He's been in there a week. He won't last another. Then we can move the body. She gets the life insurance. We get to disappear. Everyone wins. Everyone except Tom. I bit my knuckle to keep from screaming. Tom was in a freezer. Tom was dying. Tom had been dying while I slept next to his murderer. I grabbed my phone and texted Marcus the recording. Then I called 911. My voice was shaking so hard I could barely speak. My husband has been kidnapped. The man in my house is his identical twin brother. I have a recording of him confessing. He's going to kill him. Please, you have to help me. The operator kept me on the line. Police were dispatched. Marcus called 2 minutes later. Where would Daniel keep him? Think. Where does Daniel live? I don't know. I tried to steady my breathing. I don't even know where Daniel lives. We haven't spoken to him in 6 years. You need to wake him up. You need to make him tell you where Tom is. We're running out of time. I hung up, walked back into the bedroom. The man, Daniel, was still sleeping. I turned on the lights. He woke up, groggy. Babe? What's wrong? Where's my husband? I asked. My voice was ice. Daniel's face went blank. Then he smiled. Took you long enough? Smart kids, you got there. I knew when the school called something was up. Twins can always tell, huh? Guess that's ironic. Where is Tom? I repeated. He's somewhere cold. Daniel stretched, casual. You'll never find him in time. And even if you do, good luck proving I'm not him. We're genetically identical. Fingerprints, DNA, the whole 9 yards. I've been planning this for 3 years, studying him, learning his life. I just needed the right moment. Phoenix Conference was perfect. Nobody saw me grab him. Nobody even knows he's gone. Except now you do. And your brats. That's a problem. He stood up. I backed toward the door. He was between me and the exit. You're going to have an accident, he said. Tragic. Fall down the stairs. The girls will be so traumatized. Poor Daniel will have to step in and raise them. Of course, I'll be Tom by then. Tom raising Tom's kids. Poetic, really. Where's Tom? I screamed it this time. He laughed. Cold storage unit off Route 9. Unit 217. But don't bother. He's been in there 8 days. No food. No water. He's dead by now. I made sure of it. The window shattered. Marcus Rivera came through it, gun drawn. Police, freeze. Daniel spun, saw the weapon, and bolted. He made it to the hallway before 3 officers tackled him. I ran past them, down the stairs, Marcus right behind me. We have to go. Now. If there's any chance Tom's alive, we have to go now. Route 9 storage facility was 15 minutes away. We made it in 8. The manager opened Unit 217 with shaking hands. It was a climate-controlled unit, set to just above freezing, and in the corner, behind boxes of files and old furniture, was a commercial freezer. Marcus opened it. Tom was inside, barely breathing, hypothermic, dehydrated, but alive. We got him out. Paramedics arrived, rushed him to the hospital. I rode in the ambulance, holding his hand. His eyes flickered open once. Lily? He whispered. The girls? They're safe. I was sobbing. They saved you. They knew. They knew you weren't you. Tom spent 2 weeks in the hospital. Severe hypothermia, kidney damage, malnutrition, but he survived. Daniel had grabbed him in the Phoenix Hotel parking garage, drugged him, driven him across 2 states, locked him in that freezer with a sleeping bag and nothing else. He'd planned to leave him there until he died, then claimed the $2 million life insurance policy through Elena. Tom's estranged brother had been planning this since their mother died. Since the will left everything to Tom. The trial was 6 months later. Sophie and Emma testified. They brought their list. The prosecutor called it the most compelling evidence he'd ever seen. How 2 7-year-olds documented the difference between their father and an imposter. The jury deliberated 3 hours, guilty on all counts. Attempted murder, kidnapping, identity theft, fraud. Daniel got life without parole. Elena, his girlfriend, got 15 years as an accomplice. That was 17 years ago. Tom recovered. Mostly. He still gets migraines from the frostbite, still has nightmares about the dark. But he's here. He's alive. Sophie and Emma are 24 now, both studying criminal psychology. They say they want to help other families who've been betrayed by people they trust. They want to teach people what they learned at 7 years old, that sometimes the people you love aren't who they say they are, and that noticing the small things can save lives. I'm 63 now, retired from my job as a school librarian. Tom and I moved to a smaller house in Vermont, somewhere quiet, somewhere safe. We see our daughters every month. They still finish each other's sentences, still have that twin bond, but now they use it differently. They notice things. They question things. They trust their instincts. Because they learned early that instincts matter, that children see what adults miss. If you're listening to this and you have children, listen to them. Really listen. When they tell you something feels wrong, when they make lists of strange behaviors, when they lock themselves in bathrooms because they're too scared to voice their fears out loud, don't dismiss it. Don't rationalize it. Don't tell them they're being silly or imaginative. Children are perceptive. They notice inconsistencies. They see when someone who's supposed to love them gets their basic facts wrong. My daughters knew their father was missing because an imposter couldn't remember which twin was allergic to goldfish crackers, because he mixed up their dinner plates, because he stopped saying their bedtime phrase. Small things. Tiny details. But those details meant everything. Those details saved Tom's life. Those details saved all of us. Trust your children. Trust your instincts. And if something feels wrong, even if you can't explain why, investigate. Ask questions. Document. Because sometimes the person sleeping next to you isn't who you think they are. And sometimes 7-year-old twins with a notebook can see the truth before any adult can. Thank God for that notebook. Thank God for my observant, brilliant, brave daughters. Thank God they trusted themselves enough to speak up. I almost lost everything. But because 2 little girls paid attention, because they loved their father enough to know when he wasn't their father anymore, we all made it out alive. That's the lesson. Pay attention. Notice the small things. They might just save your life.